This is the story I'm going to tell you, and it still makes my skin crawl. It happened to a boy named Arian, just 15 years old at the time. It was a cold winter evening. The sky was dark by 6 p.m. The wind outside was strong, making the windows rattle. Arian's parents had to travel to another city suddenly because Arian's grandmother had fallen sick. They didn't want to take him with them, since it would be a quick overnight trip. They'd be back by morning. Arian begged them to let him stay home. "I'm not a kid," he said. "I can take care of myself for one night." His parents finally agreed. They ordered him food, gave him some extra money, told him to lock all the doors and windows, and left. Arian was excited. His first night alone at home. No rules, no bedtime, no one to stop him from doing anything. He grabbed some snacks, turned on his favorite horror movie, and curled up on the couch. The house was silent except for the sound of the TV. Outside, the wind howled and trees rustled. But Arian wasn't scared. Not yet. About halfway into the movie, while munching on chips, Arian heard something. Thump, thump, thump. Footsteps, slow, heavy, coming from upstairs. He paused the movie. His heart skipped a beat. He listened. Silence. Maybe it was just the wind, he thought, or the old wooden floor. After all, the house was a little old, and it always made strange sounds in the winter. He pressed play and continued watching. A few minutes later, he heard something else. Creak. The sound of a door opening, but not from the movie. From upstairs. This time, Arian sat up straight. The TV was still playing, but he wasn't watching anymore. His ears were focused on every little sound in the house. He muted the TV. Silence again. "Maybe I'm just imagining things," he whispered to himself. But deep down, a small fear had started to grow inside him. He stood up, walked to the bottom of the stairs, and looked up. The upstairs hallway was dark. Shadows danced on the walls. He slowly climbed the stairs, his feet almost trembling. Each step creaked slightly. When he reached the top, he noticed something strange. His bedroom door, which he had closed earlier, was now open. And the window, it was open too, letting the cold wind in. Arian never left the window open in winter. He stepped inside. The air was freezing. He walked toward the window to shut it, and that's when he noticed something else. On the edge of the window were scratch marks, thin but deep, as if someone had climbed in through the window, using their nails or something sharp to hold on. Arian's heart started beating faster. His hands shook as he shut the window and backed out of the room. He didn't want to check anything else. He didn't want to know if someone was there. He just wanted to hide. So he rushed to his parents' bedroom, locked the door behind him, and grabbed his phone. His fingers were cold, but he managed to call his mom. "Mom," he whispered, "I think someone's inside the house." That was the moment the fear became real. And then, knock, knock, knock. A soft knock on the bedroom door, and a cold voice whispered from the other side. "I know you're in there. Are you still with me?" "Good, because now the story gets even scarier." So Arian was locked in his parents' bedroom, hiding with his phone in one hand and his heart pounding like a drum in his chest. His mom had answered the call. Her voice was full of fear the moment she heard Arian whisper those words. "Someone's inside the house." "Arian, listen to me," she said, trying to stay calm. "Lock the door. Stay quiet. We're coming back. I'm calling the police right now." Arian whispered back, "Hurry." And then it happened. Knock, knock, knock. 3 soft, slow knocks on the bedroom door. Arian's blood ran cold. He didn't say a word. He didn't even breathe. And then a voice. Not loud, not angry, just low, cold, and chilling. I know you're in there. Arian wanted to scream, but his voice was stuck in his throat. He quickly turned off the lights and slid into the closet. It was dark, cramped, and smelled of old clothes and dust. But it felt safer than being out in the open. He sat there in total silence, trying to hold his breath. His phone screen glowed softly. He texted his mom. He's at the door. Minutes passed. Every sound in the house felt louder now. The ticking of the wall clock, the rustle of the curtains, the wind outside. And then, the bedroom door creaked open. The lock hadn't stopped him. He'd found a way in. Arian sat completely still. Through the tiny crack in the closet door, he saw a shadow move across the room. A tall figure. The man. He was walking slowly, not searching wildly, not panicking, but calmly, like he knew someone was hiding. Arian could hear the man breathing. Deep, slow breaths. The sound of his shoes brushing the floor. The shadow moved past the bed and stopped in front of the closet. Arian clutched his phone tight. His heart was racing so fast, he thought it might burst. He couldn't see the man's face, only the dark shape of him standing there, just inches away. The man's hand reached for the closet door. Arian shut his eyes. But just then, crash. A loud sound came from downstairs. It sounded like something had fallen or broken. Maybe a glass. Maybe a table. The man paused. Then, without opening the closet, he turned and walked quickly out of the room. Arian didn't move. He stayed hidden, waiting, listening. He waited for what felt like forever. And then he heard something that made his heart leap with relief. Police sirens outside the house. He slowly pushed the closet door open. The bedroom was empty. The window was still closed. The house was quiet. He ran out of the room, down the stairs, and straight into his mother's arms. The police were already inside, guns drawn, searching every room, every corner. But they found nothing. No man, no footprints, no broken window. Not even the door lock was damaged. It was like the man had disappeared. The police looked around and told Arian, "There's no sign of a break-in. Maybe it was a nightmare." But Arian knew what he saw, what he heard, what he felt. His parents believed him, but they were just glad he was safe. What none of them knew at that moment was that the real horror hadn't ended. In fact, the worst part was still coming. All right, so Arian was safe for now. At least, that's what everyone thought. After the police searched the house and found nothing, they told Arian's parents it was probably a bad dream or stress from being alone for the first time. But Arian knew the truth. That voice at the door, the sound of footsteps, the shadow in the bedroom, it was real. Still with his parents back home, he felt a little better. That night, they all slept in the same room. Doors locked, lights on. The next day, his parents tried to act normal. They didn't want to scare Arian more than he already was. They made him breakfast, smiled a lot, and even joked about the ghost in the house. But Arian stayed quiet. He was still shaken. Later in the afternoon, a police officer returned with something. "We checked the security camera footage outside your house," he said. "You'll want to see this." The whole family gathered around the officer's laptop. The footage was from the night before, and it showed something terrifying. Around 7:45 p.m., just after Arian had started his movie, a tall figure in dark clothes and a hoodie was seen climbing in through the upstairs window. The very same window Arian had found open. So he wasn't imagining things. But what came next was worse. The officer paused the video and zoomed in. "Here's what's strange," he said. "We checked all the footage from that night, but this man was never seen leaving the house." Arian felt sick. His parents went pale. "You mean he's still inside?" his mother whispered. The police searched the entire house again, top to bottom. This time, more carefully. They looked in the attic, under the beds, behind the furniture, even in the vents. Still, nothing. It made no sense. But Arian couldn't stop thinking about one thing, something that kept bothering him. When he had gone to his bedroom that night, the window had been open, but he remembered clearly that it had been closed earlier, which meant the man came through it. But what if? What if he had already been in the house before Arian even realized it? That night, Arian couldn't sleep. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, his mind full of questions. What did the man want? Why didn't he hurt him? Where did he go? Then something clicked in Arian's memory, something he'd seen but ignored. 2 days ago, before his parents had left, Arian had gone to the guest room to grab an extra blanket. When he opened the wardrobe, it had been full of his dad's old coats. But in the corner, behind the coats, he remembered seeing a pair of boots. Big, black boots. He'd never seen them before. At the time, he thought maybe they belonged to a guest from before. But now, he wasn't so sure. He got out of bed quietly, walked down the hall, and opened the guest room door. It creaked slightly. The room was cold and quiet. He opened the wardrobe slowly. No coats, no boots. Just an empty hanger swinging slightly, like someone had just moved it. That's when Arian realized the horrifying truth. The man didn't break into the house while Arian was alone. He was already living inside the house, hiding, long before that night. He had waited, watched, and when Arian was alone, he made his move. So, after Arian remembered those boots in the guest room wardrobe, everything started to make a horrible kind of sense. The man hadn't just broken into the house. He had been hiding inside for days, watching, waiting, moving only when no one was around. The police were called again. Arian told them everything about the boots, the memory, the swinging hanger, and his growing fear that the man had been living inside the house even before his parents left. The officers took it seriously this time. They brought a full team and went over the house again, inch by inch. And this time, they found something. Behind the wardrobe in the guest room, there was a small, old panel in the wall. It looked like part of the original house structure, covered in wallpaper to blend in. The panel was loose. When they pulled it open, they found a narrow crawl space, dark, dusty, and just wide enough for a person to slip through. It led to a hidden part of the attic no one in the family even knew existed. Inside that small, hidden space, they found food wrappers, an empty water bottle, a torn blanket, and a small notebook. Yes, a notebook. Inside were pages and pages of writing, but it wasn't normal writing. It was full of notes about the house, about Arian. Boy stays home alone tomorrow. Parents leave at 7:20 p.m. He eats chips, watches horror movie. Window unlocked. Every move Arian made, every small thing, had been written down. The man had been watching him like a hawk. And then one sentence at the end of the last page sent shivers through everyone's spine. "He doesn't know I'm still here." Arian's mom broke down crying. His dad didn't speak for minutes. The police looked stunned. The house, their home, had been someone else's hiding place. They never caught the man. The crawl space led to a broken vent that opened just outside the roof. He must have slipped out sometime during the chaos, maybe even before the sirens came that night. He had disappeared, leaving behind only the notebook, the scratch marks, and the memory of his voice at the door. The family couldn't stay in the house after that. They moved in with relatives for a while, then sold the house a few months later. No one wanted to live in it, not after what happened. It looked normal from the outside, a simple home. But inside, it held secrets, fear, shadows. As for Arian, he never stayed home alone again. He never left his window unlocked, never watched horror movies late at night, never trusted the silence in a house. Because he had learned something most of us don't think about until it's too late. Sometimes the scariest monsters aren't ghosts. They're people. Real people. People who hide in the dark, who listen, who wait. And sometimes they're already inside the house. That's the end of the story. Creepy, right? Makes you want to check your closet, lock your windows, and maybe, just maybe, sleep with the lights on tonight.